All right, going live in three, two, one. This is the Working Title Experience. We're up to episode number 24. And for this episode, I have Alicia Beltran on. So, Alicia, how are you doing this evening, morning,
Hey,
or afternoon, wherever you may be located throughout the world?
it's an evening right now. It's a rainy evening in Florida. How are you doing today?
I, I'm doing okay as best I can. Yeah, I was actually sorry. I was addressing the audience who may be anywhere else in the world at this point. So, since we're international.
Sorry.
So Alicia is a. Go ahead. And, what do you do, Alicia? Tell my audience what you like to do, or what is your what? Tell us what is it about you that we would find interesting.
Oh, well, I used to be a server for about 15 years, so I know how to deal with people on a daily basis. Difficult people, I'm really good with dealing. But right now, I'm not doing anything. I'm just a laid back chick enjoying my free time. And I actually want to get my foot in the door in some podcasting. I've always been interested in that kind of stuff. I travel a lot. I'm from Ecuador originally. I was born there. And I visit there from time to time. And it's such a great country. So I like to spend most of my time around there. I play the ukulele. I'm self taught. And I'm a dog mom.
So you're you're from Ecuador. Based on the way you talk, it sounds like you speak really English speaks. You speak it. I can't even speak right now, but you speak it very well. I wouldn't even know you were
Thanks.
not from this country. So.
Yeah, actually, I am as 100% pure Ecuadorian as you can get. My grandparents, great grandparents, great great grandparents are all from Ecuador, but I came here when I was really little. I came here when I was about two, and I actually grew up in New Jersey, which is my upbringing up there, North Central Jersey, Morristown. So, holla. Yeah.
New Jersey. Okay. So how long did you when you went to New Jersey? How old were you when you moved there?
I was like, I probably moved to Dover, New Jersey when I was like 3 years old. And then until I was 13, I moved back to Ecuador. I went to middle school and high school there, and then came back to the United States, back to New Jersey, and finished off college out there. And then I moved to Florida. I've been moving around. I want to say every 10 years, I am somewhere different in the world. I can't stay still. I'm kind of like a nomad.
Interesting. So why are you in Florida then? You're in Florida at this point, correct?
Yeah, my family moved out of New Jersey like 10 years ago, and I tried to live up there by myself. I tried to do the whole school thing, and it got too expensive. So I came down to Florida, stayed with my mom for a little bit, and eventually got my own place. And my mom is here, my father's here, so everyone's close by. So that's why I moved to Florida. It's a big difference between Florida and New Jersey. It was a hard transition, but I like it. It's hot, but I like it.
I bet I've been to New Jersey. I've been to Florida a couple of times in my life. I mean, what's the biggest differences? What would you say is the most extreme? If for people who are going from one state to the other, what would be the most extreme?
Definitely the people. I'm from New Jersey. I'm used to people who are crass. I'm used to people who are very blunt, very matter of fact. They like to sugarcoat things a lot here in Florida. They'll do like backhanded compliments down here, and in Jersey, they'll just tell you straight up to your face. People are a little more aggressive up in New Jersey. So the biggest thing for me is like the Southern hospitality. I was blown away. It actually is a thing, and I was pleasantly surprised when I came down here.
Okay, so you said you're a mom too. What you said. So you have.
I'm actually not a mom. I'm a dog mom.
Okay. I misunderstood there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't have any kids. I'm 35 years old and I have no kids. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I don't. I like my dogs. They're my babies.
So, well, then, what kind of dogs do you have? Since we're going
I
on
have a pit bull, a blue nosed pit. His name is Bane. I named him after Bane from Batman because he's got like a white mask. It's like perfect, really symmetrical. And then I have a mutt. I know he definitely has brindle pit in him, but I don't know what else he has. He's just a fat little nugget. His name is Felix. So they're my babies.
Oh, that's cute. Well, the have you had them since you were? How long have you had them since they were puppies?
Oh, Bane is 9. Yeah, I got him when he was 8 weeks old, and Felix was adopted. Actually, he was like neglected, and I took him in. I didn't really think Bane would really get adjusted to him because Bane's kind of an aggressive dog, but no, they love each other. They sleep with each other. They share the same bowl of food. They're BFFs for life.
Okay. Well, before we go too far, what I'd like to do is engage our audience and ask them a question. Do you have something you'd like to ask ask our audience?
Yeah, I've been binge watching Naked and Afraid, and I've had this discussion many times with my boyfriend, with my sister. She comes over all the time. Would you guys ever be able to do Naked and Afraid? Would you be able to survive? I personally would never. I wouldn't even last 8 hours. I think I'd probably faint from not eating because I'm fat and I like food. So.
Well, you'll have to pardon my ignorance. What is Naked? Is it Naked and Afraid? Is that...
Oh yeah, it's that show on Discovery Channel. It's that reality show. It's basically they usually do male and female pairs, and they make them go to remote places in the world. Some, Africa. They even go to Ecuador, and they'll go into like the jungle, the savannah, naked, and they have to survive at least 21 days out there alone in the wilderness. And there's no way I can do that.
Wait, so they actually no clothing? They're actually naked?
No clothing, no food, nothing that can help them survive. It's all up to them and their surviving skills. And it's usually they pick people who either brag about their surviving skills or are fans and think, hey, I can do this, So they put their skills to the test and they rate them from like 1 to 10 on their skills and survival. And the ones that survive get more points, and they actually do the thing. And I don't know how, but some people are actually really agile and they blow me away. Mostly the women are the ones that are the most resilient, in my opinion. Men usually tap out before the 21 days.
Interesting. Though I see, I wouldn't even walk out naked in my own yard.
No way.
I mean, there's my yard is like a little wilderness. It's like a little, I call it like my little animal preserve. I have snakes. I have mice. I have, and not, I'm not even mentioning the insects and mosquitoes.
What state are you in?
Virginia, just outside of DC.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, things are crazy out there. You guys got like bobcats and stuff out there. It's crazy.
Oh no, I'm seeing those. I'm not part of Virginia, so.
But,
but yeah, we have deer, and whenever you have deer, you have ticks, and ticks have disease. I wouldn't even want to. When I walk outside my yard, I'm fully clothed, and that's just my yard. So let alone going into the woods behind my house. So
right, or spending the night and not eating and try to forage for food. There's no way. No way. You have to make your own little hut out of any palm trees you can find. And sleep on the ground. No, there's just no way.
So these people, since this show's got to be a little intrigued, since I've never heard of it before, they how do they? I mean, is it men and women walking around naked on screen? Do they? I assume they cover them.
Yeah, they blur out the special parts. I mean, their butts are usually exposed. You could see full blown ass, but it's fine. I don't mind that. And then they blur out the important parts. But yeah, it must be really awkward because these people are actually there in front of us, complete strangers, and they have to team up and become a team while they're naked. And the afraid part is because it's terrifying out there. It's crazy.
In these places, are there any are there any creatures that they have to deal with? I mean,
yeah, the episode that I just saw right now, this guy was sleeping, minding his business, and a scorpion, bam, right on his back. Usually they either get tapped out because they'll get bit by crazy spiders, or they'll eat the wrong kind of fish and they get sick. They usually get like infections. Usually things like that make them tap out. But you have to be really careful. I noticed too, people think that it's okay to just drink random ponds of water, random little holes of water out there without boiling it. That's usually one of the reasons why people tap out and almost die on these shows. And they don't win money. They're not even competing for money. They're just doing this for bragging rights.
So okay, I'm going to minimize our screen here. Okay. Well, let's ask our question first, and we get back to the discussion. Hold on a second.
Okay.
How should I phrase this question? Would you, and tell me that again so I word it correctly.
Would you ever participate in Naked and Afraid.
Okay. Okay. And then
I mean, if people don't know, should we put like a link towards? I know, is it a Discovery Channel? I believe it's a show on Discovery Channel. I
Okay.
watched it on Discovery Plus.
Okay. I'll say just scene. How could I phrase this? On Discovery Channel. I'll just put it on Discovery Channel.
Yeah, I'm so surprised you've never heard of this. You need to watch it. It's
Well, I'm not
addicting.
I'm not a big television person. This is a reality show.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely reality.
Okay.
I like they have specials sometimes. They'll pick the best of the best because there are infamous people who have been on there multiple times because honestly they're badasses. So the show keeps inviting them to different places and they keep inviting them back. And they even have some where they'll place like 5 people on one island about 7 miles away from another island with other 5 people, and eventually they want them all to meet and kind of make like a commune and just survive. I've heard of the longest they've been out there is like 60 days, 90 days, which is insane.
Wow. Okay. So what I'm going to put down, let's see. I was going to say hell no for the first response. How about absolutely?
Right.
I say absolutely. Any other response? We can have up to 5 responses on this.
We can't have like any exceptions, as in like, oh, only if I can bring my cell phone or whatever. The show does allow them sometimes to bring like a fire starter and like a pot, but basically that's it. So we're gonna have to put no exceptions. I don't know.
So just the no and the yes, and that should be good enough then.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because
Okay. So make sure I got my grammar right because I'm notorious for typing things out incorrectly here. Would you ever participate in Naked and Afraid on
yeah,
Discovery
you
Channel?
did pretty good. Yes.
Okay. Does that look good?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and post it. All right, we can come back to that later. So
Cool.
now we're discussing this show. This is a show that you've watched for I guess for a long period of time.
Yeah, I've been watching you for a minute. I love the girls that you have on here. They make me feel at home. I was kind of nervous to be on here because I wasn't sure what you were looking for, but a lot of the chicks you have on here are pretty cool. I'd hang out with them, definitely.
Oh yeah, they're all good. They're all good people. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just curious though about Naked and Afraid. So they walk around naked, and why? What's with the naked part? Why can't they wear clothing?
Right? That's what I said. I was like, why do they have to be naked? But honestly, I think what Discovery Channel is trying to do is just trying to bring us back to the most primitive form and see how we can do it. And, in South America and different places of the world, there's tribes who do this every day. This is their everyday way of life. So as I'm sitting down on my couch being like, oh, you pussy, as I'm like eating potato chips and judging people, I realize there are actually people who do this all the time. So it's almost like how hard can it be?
But yeah, but
obviously it's really hard.
But the people you're talking about do this as a way of life. They live a lifestyle. That's their culture. This is
yeah. They have a system,
and they have their homes and the families. I don't think they walk around naked, do they?
In Ecuador, they do. A lot of the native tribes, they don't wear bras. They'll cover themselves up with like a leaf. They don't have shoes. No, they live out there, and the mosquitoes don't seem to bother them. The sun doesn't seem to bother them. So.
Okay. I take that back then. So, all right. I brought up the links for people who want to look at.
Yeah, there you go. Sometimes they'll team up girls with girls. They'll team up siblings. I've watched one recently where it was husband and wife. The combination of people that they choose is actually pretty interesting too. They throw in the factor of knowing that they might clash, which brings in a little bit of drama to it. It's really an interesting show.
So as far as now, I've only ever been a fan of one reality show, and that's a show that came out like 15 years ago called Pinks, and it was just because they were doing drag racing, and they would have to, whoever lost would lose their car, and I found that kind of fun.
Oh, that sounds interesting. I've never heard of that before.
And it kind of faded out after a year or so because they changed the concept and it got kind of boring. But but as far as other reality shows, I've usually never been too interested in them. So I've turned them
Oh,
on. I turn them off. I'm not trying to downplay what you're saying because I just they're just not my thing. I'm curious as to what is the appeal to watching these people? Is it just their survival? Is the are they argue?
yes. It's almost like it makes me want to put myself in their shoes and see if I can withhold or withstand that stuff. It definitely makes you think, and it makes you, I guess, more appreciative of all the things that we have. I mean, you're sitting down watching this show, I'm sure, in the comfort of your home with the AC blowing, the lights are on. You can eat whatever you want out of the fridge. We take all that for granted. And to see that being stripped away from somebody and then have them survive, that kind of puts a lot of things into perspective.
And would you yourself, I guess would be the ultimate question, would you yourself want to participate, actually go in and do this?
I'm curious because I just want to pay homage to my ancestors who have done that. So I would love to do it just to say that I can do it. But I'm going to be honest with you, I wouldn't last not even a day. There's no way, especially at night when all those bugs are biting you and you got to find shelter and there's like a jaguar in the jungle trying to eat you. Yeah, no, I don't think I could ever
Okay,
survive that.
so there are wild animals running around. Has anyone gotten
Yeah.
injured, eaten, killed?
I see a lot of close calls. I'm sure, editing makes things seem a little more dramatic, but yeah, there have been times where people have had to shoot
Uh, we got a little bit of a.
bears, jaguars. Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess you had to send me some information about yourself before we started the show, and you wanted me to. I think you wanted to discuss you're going to high school in a third world country.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We're talking about this.
Uh,
I'm just kind of curious. What was that about?
Well, it was actually a pretty hard move for me. I was like an angry teenager when I moved. I was like 13, 14. I was stuck in my American ways, and I moved to Ecuador, and I ended up moving to the city called Cuenca, which is actually a pretty civilized city. It's actually kind of metropolitan. It's a huge city with a lot of history. And I was fortunate enough to go to a school where everyone was preppy and rich and had money. Not because I had money, but it's because it was a school that focused on English, as teaching English as a main language. So people have to pay a lot of money to go to those kind of schools. So I went to kind of school like that, and I actually saw a different side of Ecuador, a third world country that most people wouldn't expect. I went to schools with some really, really rich and privileged people, and I had the best time of my life. It was like a culture shock to me. People are a little bit different. Teenagers, especially, their lifestyle and their culture is completely different from American culture, definitely.
Gotcha. Well, I went to a school that's similar to, it sounds like somewhat similar, but it was in Virginia. But it was definitely a lot of preppy kids. And I was from a neighborhood that was not as rich as those. We weren't poor at all, but we weren't like ultra like the rich neighborhoods like most of the kids were. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about
Yeah,
exactly.
it's exactly the same. And also, when you have a little bit of American money and you go to a third world country, that money kind of goes a longer way. So people kind of think that you do have a little more money, a little more of an upper hand in a way. So I actually went to school with people who had butlers and chauffeurs, and it was just like over the top. I noticed that in a third world country, when you're rich, you're not just like little rich, you're super rich, you're mega rich. It's a whole different world.
That's interesting. So, how did you feel like you were not part of the clique at all?
Oh no, I didn't. I don't feel like I fit in at all. The teachers didn't like me automatically because I'm American. So they already have they already think that Americans are rude, that American girls are fast girls and stuff like that. They didn't give me a chance. They actually assumed who I was. And so automatically there I felt like I didn't fit in. But luckily there were a lot of people who were there from the United States. Believe it or not, there was a lot of kids from California, where their parents came to Ecuador to do business. And I actually made really good friends, believe it or not, lifelong friends who I still communicate till this day.
That's pretty good. The
Yeah.
the rest of your education, did you do that in Ecuador as well, or where did you go to school at?
Well, I came back to the United States and I went to another preppy school. Yay. It was in Randolph High School in New Jersey. And I ended up graduating there and started community college. And then I moved to Florida. But college years in New Jersey were good times.
So is Florida really flat? I'm just kind of curious as far as
Oh my God, it's so flat. There's nothing.
Oh,
There's just, but you know what? It makes the sunsets look really nice because you can see so much of the sky. But other than that, it's pretty boring view.
the only thing I've always been worried about Florida is I saw a special about 5 or 10 years ago about the sinkholes. Sinkholes come from,
Oh yes.
but they're prominent, more prominent in Florida than any other part of the country.
Oh yeah. And I live in Central Florida. That's where all the sinkholes like to develop, you know. I've heard of stories maybe like 2 years ago, some guy in his house sleeping in his bed, sinkhole sucks him all in. Didn't even know what hit him. His entire house just imploded.
Yeah, that's the only thing. That's the only thing that worries me about Florida is the number of
Oh
sinkholes.
yeah, it's because we're below sea level. Even in my own backyard, you make too much of a hole, you hit water. So you got to be careful.
So now, as far as moving anywhere else, because you said you've been all over, is Florida going to be the place you'd like to stay, or you plan
I
on going
mean,
anywhere else?
my family's here, and I'm already used to being here. I also have a boyfriend that I've been with for a long time, so I've developed a life already here. If I had money to live anywhere, I would live back in New Jersey, but it's so expensive.
Hmm. Now, no. So let's talk about some of the other things you like. You said you're a movie buff. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I love movies, definitely.
So what kind of movies are you into?
I like stoner movies. Those are my favorite comedies. I'm really big on like Grandma's Boy, those kind of movies. Anything with like Method Man, Red Man, How High, Half Baked, all the
Okay.
classics.
The in any particular movie in general though that you really stands out?
I can't pick exactly a favorite movie that I have, but stoner movies all the way. Well, I'm also a classic girl. Clueless, I can watch every day of my life, and I'll never get tired of that movie. And Beetlejuice, probably one of the best movies ever. And Forrest Gump, that movie makes me cry every damn time. Every time I watch, it's because of Jenny, that fucking bitch. Sorry.
Oh, I recently we had on another show. We recently reviewed Clueless. I hadn't seen it in a while. No,
Really?
it's okay. It's not. I remember seeing it when it was brand new at the theater, and
Oh yeah, me too.
I don't remember. I didn't think. I think it was okay. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was like the best movie. Not to be.
I understand because it's something that you didn't relate to, you know what I'm saying? But like me, I'm 35 years old. In the 90s, Cher was my idol, my fashion idol and everything. So I completely related to that movie so much, especially Ty. I relate to Ty. That's how I feel. I feel like an outcast
I got you. So as far
that
as
needs a makeover.
and that was the one from New Jersey, right?
Yeah, she was from Jersey.
Okay, so as far as the fashions in that movie, were they accurate? I mean, I was
Absolutely. It was like top notch fashion too. If you actually do your research and you Google every piece of clothing that Cher has, everything's top shelf fashion. She's got like Gucci, Prada, you name it, Versace, even like the plain tank tops, that famous white dress that she wore, where her dad was like, "What are you wearing?" That was a Calvin Klein dress, which is worth a lot of freaking money. The Alaya, the one where she has to like hit the floor because she's getting mugged, that dress is like hundreds of dollars.
okay. Well, I grew up more in the '80s, so that was my era. So by the time I was in the '90s, I was already working full time doing a different thing.
Oh,
So
I see.
and so when I'm looking at that movie, I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I was alive,
What
and
is what is like your token movie? Like what, Breakfast Club or
no, I mean, the Breakfast Club's okay. I mean, I don't know. If I had to pick a movie, I don't know.
Ferris Bueller?
It's okay. I like Ferris Bueller. Maybe something more like the Blues Brothers would be pretty good. So,
Oh, okay, okay. I see where you're going. How about like Caddyshack?
oh yes, Caddyshack's. Yeah, I do.
Gotcha. Okay, I see. I see where you're at. I see.
Yeah, Harold Ramis, and he's the one that was helped write that. So, yeah, that would be my genre. That would be something. I'd be if I'd pick something.
Gotcha.
Blues Brothers and Caddyshack for sure, both not the sequels. The sequels to both of those movies sucked. So,
Usually the sequels do.
but yeah, as far as comedies go, I mean, it doesn't mean because I was mostly a teenager during the '80s. It doesn't mean I'm dedicated to the '80s. So there are other movies. I'm I like other things. Unfortunately, I tell this a lot to people from '97 to like 2013. Unfortunately, I was so dedicated to my career, I didn't really pay attention to a lot of the movies that were out during that period. So sometimes
Gosh,
people
you
say
are
like,
missing out on so much. That's a big chunk of history right there that you're missing out on.
yeah, someone will say a movie from that era, and I go, I have what is that? And they'll look at me and go, what? You've never heard of that? And I go, no, not really, because I was just a little too preoccupied with other things at that point.
Well,
So
I need to get you on some of those movies. You have to get on them.
but I do like some of the movies, like the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy with Christian Bale. Is that,
Yeah. Okay.
I like those. So,
Okay.
and I'm not a big comic book fan either by any stretch. It's just the movie itself had a very good story, compelling, and it was grounded more in reality, which made it more likable for me. So,
I see.
the what movies would you recommend from that era that maybe I have not heard of?
All right. Well, let's see. 2007 to 2013.
No,
You
go back.
probably missed out
No, hold on.
on.
Go back. It's 1997 to 2013.
Geez, Louise. Do you know like any of the Jay and Silent Bob movies?
I've seen little bits and pieces of them. I did see what was the one that they were in? Clerks. I've seen Clerks. So I like.
Oh, yeah. I actually went to their comic book, the Clerks, that place in New Jersey where they had like a little comic book stand. It's actually pretty cool. They have a lot of memorabilia there. Yeah, I would recommend any. Do you know, like, are you familiar with Grandma's Boy?
No, sorry.
It's something that you might even like because the plot is really, it's a guy who works in the video game industry and he tests video games.
Okay.
It's a stoner movie, but it's really funny and I recommend you'd watch it just because, I know you like video games and stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm kind of locked into like a handful of video games. So, video games in general, I hate to say this, I'm not really. If someone throws a video game out there, if unless it's like Grand Theft Auto, I usually or something related to that, I usually kind of phase out a little bit, unfortunately. So,
Yeah,
the and I've actually seen the people that test those video games. I feel kind of sorry for them because they're not really playing them. They're just the testing can be really from what I've heard, be really obnoxious and really tiring after a while. So
I'm sure it's redundant probably.
so well, I will if you could maybe come up with a list of movies, maybe I could come up with something. Maybe you and I could review a movie sometime.
Definitely. Have you ever seen like Friday? You ever seen anything like that?
Friday.
Ice Cube? Yeah, Ice Cube, Chris Tucker.
I know who Chris Tucker is, but I don't remember Friday. No, is that a movie?
Oh, you got to watch that movie. Absolutely, it's a classic. It's an absolute classic.
Okay.
I'm gonna listen. I got some homework to do. I'm gonna make a big list for you. We're gonna watch some movies and we're gonna review them. You are missing out on such a big chunk of history, honestly.
And I did catch up on some of those movies periodically. I did watch that. They weren't the best in the world, but they were okay to watch. With the young adult movies. What were they? The Hunger Games. That's the one I was trying to think of.
Oh, yeah. I'm not really big on like those trilogies like Hunger Games or Twilight and I've never even seen Harry Potter ever.
I've never seen that at all either. In fact, I didn't even know they were British until about 5 years ago.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I've never seen that. I've never seen Lord of the Rings. None of those ever. So I don't know.
I think I know I saw one or two of the Lord of the Rings, maybe all three of them in the theater. There was one, even though it came out during that period, I did periodically go to the theater. So, um, I I wouldn't really remember them though. They were just I felt like they were kind of I don't know, long and drawn out, and so I can't remember them.
How do you
Um,
feel about like Seth Rogen movies?
I'm not sure. I know who Seth Rogen is, but I'm not sure if I've seen any of his movies. Could you?
The majority of his movies just have like the same thing. They're all stoner movies,
Oh,
comedies. They're pretty funny.
okay. I wouldn't know. I'd have to watch one, so I can't say off the top. So,
Well, you need to get on that too. Check Seth Rogen movies. Check. We got at least 10. At least 10.
okay. What other kind of genres do you like? I can tell you. Well, my genre, I did get hooked on a couple of TV shows. One of them I always hate to, I feel embarrassed whenever I say this. I was hooked on the TV show Lost when it was on.
Oh, okay. I've never watched it. I heard really good things about it. I heard the ending was crazy.
Hmm. The I would say that if you want to watch it, you got to be prepared to watch it from beginning to end. There's only like one episode that I can honestly say you can watch as a standalone episode. Everything else you have to watch from the very beginning to end just to understand what's going on. And even then, you really have to pay attention, or you're going to miss something. So
Right, right.
I say I'm embarrassed because oftentimes if you find a person who's a Lost fan, they start rattling off things about the show, and I'm like, yeah, I know all that stuff, but I don't want to admit that I know that stuff. I just want to say I'm a fan. So,
It's a little guilty pleasure. People are like that with The Office. I
uh,
don't get it.
I've never seen The Office, but I know of The Office. So, is it a good
Me
show?
too.
Oh, you.
I've probably seen like 2 episodes, and I don't understand the appeal. People are like super batshit crazy about that show, and I don't get it. And they're like that with the trivia too. I don't understand.
Hmm. Now, the other show I watched during that period was a show called Battlestar Galactica, which was a drama based.
Oh,
Did you see that one?
yeah, I'm not into that kind of stuff, but I know exactly what you're talking about. My
It
boyfriend
was
watches all that sci-fi stuff.
okay. It's sci-fi, but it's more drama than sci-fi a lot of times.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so it's my dad described it as almost like a soap opera in space. So
Ah, I see. Yeah, during that time, what is it like early 2000s?
that's yeah, it came out the yeah, it lasted from like mid to late 2000s. So
Yeah, usually stuff like that was a little cheesy back then, but it's comforting.
I would honestly say if you don't have to be a sci-fi fan to like that, if you like drama, you would probably like that if you're into drama. So
I think I'll give it a try. I used to watch the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series.
oh really? So is
Yeah,
that good?
yeah, that's
Sounds
actually
good.
excellent. That was like something I grew up with. I watched that religiously. It was great. It's kind of like sci-fi, a little bit of like witchiness to it. It's pretty cool. Charmed was a good show too,
Charmed.
about the same era. Yeah.
Okay. I know Sarah Michelle Gellar was in the other one. That's about all I know.
Yeah, Buffy.
Yeah, that's about all I know
Yeah,
at that point. So,
she was pretty cool. She was the girl back then.
you know. So as far as I mean, what else would our my audience like to know about you? What do you think is interesting about you?
Well, I'm a cannabis connoisseur. I
Huh?
love medical cannabis. I use it daily for my migraines, and I suffer from PTSD. So it's the only thing that actually helps me stay asleep, and it helps me every day with my stress. That's actually part of my lifestyle. Hence why I like all the stoner movies, and I listen to all the stoner rap and stuff like that. I'm your typical hippie. I make like friendship bracelets, and I make jewelry. I play the guitar.
Yeah.
Um, I like to paint, stuff like that. I'm just very easygoing.
I would call myself. I dressed more like a hippie when I was in high school, which during the '80s was unheard of. But I never smoked anything,
Right.
so I
Oh, you never inhaled?
never ever. So I never anything, not even in the slightest. I occasionally had a beer, which I never got into. My family's not doesn't like alcohol. It's not it's just not something we could even get into. Nothing. Pretty much, we just not never touched anything. Um, I,
Really? That's
I
actually
did wear.
interesting.
I did used to wear a peace symbol all the time, even like after the September 11th attacks, 2001. People were wearing their American flags. I thought they wanted to go attack everybody. I was like, no, no, no. We need to look at this in a more peaceful way. So I wore a peace
Aw,
symbol
that's
on my
such a
car.
great way of looking at it.
Yeah, I didn't like the revenge kind of attitude that people had back then.
Right. That's really sweet. Yeah. That time was horrible.
Yeah, yeah. So, but that's and the peace symbol is left over from when I was in high school. Like I wore a jean jacket
Oh.
that had a peace symbol. I drew on the front or back. I forget where. So,
I don't think I've ever intentionally like things because they're like hippie or bohemian. I just gravitate towards those kind of things. And then I look at myself, I'm like, damn, I guess I am a hippie. I don't know. I have one single dreadlock. Does that make me let's see
oh,
right here.
I see. Yeah. I had that. My hair was like that too when I was younger. In fact, I can. You want me to bring a picture of what I look like? Sure.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Give me a second because I have to open up a special browser
Take
for
your
this.
time. Take your time.
So,
I don't know what you look like, so I'm trying to imagine, and then I
okay.
want to see if I'm right.
Okay. Well, yeah. While we're bringing this up, this might take a second to bring up here. So, tell if you have anything else you'd like to tell our audience about you. Now, so what about the cannabis? As far as you said, are you? Go ahead and tell me more about it because I'm not sure how to phrase that question about that.
Well, I've been smoking weed for a long time, and I didn't realize how much I needed it until I stopped. And now, finally, in Florida, they actually allow us to have our medical cards. So I went to the doctor. I got myself checked out. I told them about my past, my medical things, and I qualified. I got my card. It was like the easiest thing in the world to do. And yeah, I smoke weed every day, like Dr. Dre said. You got to follow the doctor's orders.
Is is it okay? I mean, I've heard people say that it's not bad, but I mean, I just
Honestly, it's not for everybody. I don't recommend everyone to try it. Some people can't handle it. It's too much, their anxiety, and also depends on the strand. Sometimes I feel like there are some strands out there that are just really heavy. You have to just be careful how much you dose with. You can start off small. I always recommend people to hit it in a little bowl and start off small just to see how your body reacts to it, because edibles, that would be like the last thing I would recommend anyone try, especially someone like you who's never had it before, because it would scare the shit out of you and you would never want to do it again. So I just recommend people start really, really slow and really small doses. And then from there, you start picking up your tolerance, and then you see when it's the best time of the day to do it. And my favorite time of the day is at the end of the night so I can sleep. It helps me a lot.
I had something that might be considered an experience. I don't know if it would be the same because I've never smoked marijuana. Or I've never done anything, but I had gotten this might gross you out a little. I was working on my car and I got some minor metal fragments into my eye. So I had to go to an eye
Oh,
doctor, and the doctor they got stuck in my eye and he had to pull them out, and they kept on plucking them out. And what happened was, I don't know if you know this, but if you start touching someone's eyeball, they go into a serious. I went into this weird. I don't know how to describe it. Feeling. I went and I started getting real sweaty, and I got
oh,
really, and it was like an episode of some kind. I don't know if it
like
would
a
be.
panic attack.
I guess, but I wasn't really afraid or anything. But my body just reacted, and I was like, the doctor laid me down because he knew I was going through some sort of weird thing, and I came back out like a few minutes later. I don't know if that'd be similar to any kind of experience that people have when they take something, but that's probably the closest I've ever gone through. So,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people throw up. I've seen people freak out. I've seen people have like anxiety attacks. But that's why I say people need to chill out on that. They can't just like go hard on it. You got to try little by little. But if you get it right, for me, honestly, it's the most relaxing thing. It's kind of like, people at the end of a hard work day, they sit and they have like their little glass of wine. I don't know how alcohol is for other people, but for me, I don't really agree with alcohol. My body doesn't like it, but I assume that a glass of wine usually relaxes someone, kind of like a joint relaxes me. It's actually the best thing ever, to be honest with you. It keeps me out of trouble. I stay home. I don't really want to go out. I'm more of like a homebody person. I sit around, I play music all day long, or I play video games, and I'm not out there spending money. I'm not driving around drunk. I'm not starting fights with people at bars. So I just think it's the best way to go, honestly. And I'm glad that people are opening their eyes now, and it's not taboo anymore. It used to be like when I was like 17, 18, I had to keep it a secret. Nobody had to know. I would have to park my car in a parking lot and walk like 2 miles deep in the woods so I can smoke a bowl. You know, now, shoot, people be walking in Target hitting their vape pens full of THC. Like, what a time to be alive. It's great.
Well, I got the pictures now, so I finally got them queued up.
Oh, yay. Let's see.
This would be me when I was a teenager. So I kind of look like a stoner, but I'm actually not. Here we go. Here we go, right here. There's me on the right.
Oh, come on. Definitely a stoner. If I would have not ever known that you don't smoke weed, I'd be like, that's the dude to get weed from, for sure. Right there.
You had your hair, and my hair was also kind of in a dreadlock kind of a fashion.
Is that your natural hair color? Or you're a redhead?
I was. I'm not anymore. It faded away and turned very dark now. So it's actually more of a dark brown.
I love it. You look so free and happy.
I forget which park we were at. I think my sister took these pictures. So.
Oh, how sweet. Excellent. That's so cool. You look like you're having a time of your life. How old were you?
I was probably late teens, probably early 20s, late teens, early 20s. So
awesome.
Let me see if I can find. There's a picture of my sister on the far right there. Okay, here's a picture.
Oh,
there I am.
Throwback. Wow.
So that's
love it. Is that your mom?
Oh yes, my mom on the left, and
she looks like such a sweet lady.
And then my sister, that's my
sister. How cute. They're all redheads.
Well, no, they're not actually. I'm the only one that's redhead. So it might
okay.
It might just be the color of the film, but they are definitely not redheads. So
I see.
The girl in the back that's standing next to me, that's one of my cousins. So
how cute.
So I'll show you let me see if I can get you a more modern picture. Yeah, here you can see when I was a little bit younger. You can see my red was really standing.
Oh my goodness!
It definitely is not that red anymore. So I looked in the mirror recently. When I saw these pictures, I was like, man, definitely not that red.
How cute!
Let's see here. Give me here's a somewhat more modern picture. Here's me breaking into a house for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know what's going on there. Here's a picture.
You probably forgot the keys or something.
Here's a picture of me standing next to my sister. So
I'm loving the jacket.
Yeah, it's. I don't even know if I have that anymore. I was looking at I barely remember that thing, but yeah.
It'd be pretty cool if you still did.
I usually wear black all the time, black button-down shirts. So.
Oh, okay.
So you get an idea now of what I look like. So
I see. Okay.
There we go. Bring that out. So now one of the other things you'd like to talk about, you said you wanted to talk about was ancient aliens. So.
Oh yeah.
So
Ancient Aliens.
You're a fan of the show? You're a fan of
100. Ancient Aliens changed my life.
Really?
Oh yeah, for sure. I thought I had life figured out until Ancient Aliens. I want to say the very first episode I saw, my mind, it literally felt like it was like everything I was told was a lie. Everything that I grew up thinking and knowing was a lie. It blew my mind. And I didn't know how much history that was being hidden from us, basically. I felt betrayed in a way. That's how much it changed my life.
So you're talking about specifically just the TV show that's called Ancient Aliens, or are you talking about
the ancient alien theory itself?
Okay.
That right there blew my mind. It made me realize all the shit that we were learning in school is bullshit.
Okay. So as far as the do you watch the show that's called that? What all have you watched?
Yeah, I do. I watch the show. There's also anything that has to do with aliens. If I go on Netflix or Hulu, I'm there. I'm watching it. I like to. What is his name? There's this one guy. I'm going to look him up. Steven. I'll figure out what his name is, but he figured out a way to do to make contact with aliens in form of meditation. And he usually comes into the Space Coast here, like in Cocoa Beach in Florida. And he grabs a bunch of people and they sit around at the beach and they do their meditation and they summon UFOs and they catch the stuff on video and it's for real. That shit is crazy. That kind of stuff blows my mind. Because when you're little, people don't teach you that stuff at school. And if I remember telling my parents like, "Oh, aliens," and my mom would be like, "That's impossible. That's not true," but it's true. How can you deny aliens for real?
Okay, well, there's an argument to be made. I think that there's most likely life out there beyond our Earth, but the idea that aliens are visiting Earth is a different story. So I'm not debating. I'm not going to say there's most. I'm going to without committing to it. I'll say most likely there is life out there, but how can you absolutely say that life from another planet has visited Earth?
I mean, how could you not? There's so much evidence showing you that they came down here and they taught people things. Because if you think about it, civilization, we weren't that advanced until they showed up, and they taught them math, they taught them basics that, we can't explain. That to me in itself, like the pyramids, that to me in itself is proof. Because how can you explain that?
Human ingenuity.
But do you see every block is like tons and tons. How did they have the technology back then to lift that kind of stuff, put it together so perfectly and form such a perfect structure?
Well, first off, I'm not trying to denounce what you're saying, but first off, you weren't alive back then. So, and
You're right.
and also there's never been any evidence to show how they actually did it. There's been theories. So
Right. There's theories, but I follow what my ancestors say. Even Native Americans, they're always talking about the gods that came from the heavens, that came down and taught them the basic skills that we needed to become a successful civilization that we now are.
Okay, but that's religion at that point. That's not science.
I don't think that's religion. I mean, religion is
Oops, I think we
completely
lost.
different.
Yeah, you cut off for a second. You said religion is, and then you cut off. So you're back. You're back.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I don't think it's like religion at all. I mean, if you want to use it as a substitution for religion, if you substitute certain keywords with alien, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, a lot of people actually take. In fact, what happens is people oftentimes will stop believing their religion and use the belief in something else as a surrogate religion, such as believing in aliens, believing that that's actually a very common thing. You'll see they think that what they're doing is believing in science, but they're actually believing in faith because there is no actual physical evidence to back up any of the claims. It's just people saying things. People saying things is not evidence. That's just hearsay.
I mean, you could say the same thing about religion.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
hearsay.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That's what,
Yeah.
exactly.
But I think there's just more evidence to it. There's cave drawings of weird shaped things, like in Peru. They have these like huge like they edge things on the edge of like mountains. They're like these creatures with these big heads and these big eyes, and they claim that they come down here. I mean, I think that's plenty of evidence to me. I think that if it wasn't that important, right? Native Americans wouldn't pass this on for generations to generations. They wouldn't go out of their way to mark it down in history. It must have been a significant thing for them to make such a big deal about it and want it to last so many years.
Yeah, but you're generalizing all Native American cultures as one. There are very distinct differences between all the cultures.
You're right. You're right. I'm not generalizing. I'm sorry, but if it sounded like that. But yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely. Different. Every Native Americans, they're all different. They all practice different things, but a lot of them their beliefs stem from the same story.
That's not exactly true. It's because the Native American cultures date back 10,000 years, and there were several waves that came over from Asia. So you have different cultures, different languages. I mean, from where I am, it was the Algonquian people that lived from basically Richmond, Virginia, all the way to say New York area. That's where you got the Iroquois Nation. I mean, they had their different languages. South of Virginia, you had the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw nations. They were completely different. I mean, it was different cultures, different customs, different language. Everything was different. I mean, and that's just in that part of of North America. And the religions were not really that similar when you cross them over. I mean, you're saying that they all basically stem from the same thing. That's not exactly. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's not exactly true. The Aztec and the Mayan, where Mexican, South America, those are two completely different cultures right there. And the
Oh yeah.
Mayan culture still exists to this day. I mean, even the language still exists. So, that's which is really remarkable considering what the people went through. And I mean, I just have to say I disagree with you on the idea that they all stem from the same, because they don't. They really don't. There's just so many different kinds of so many different cultures, and so many different customs. It's just not the same. You can go to the Midwest United States. Go to St. Louis. There's a large area. There's a large city called Cahokia that's left over, where people lived there from 800 to 1200 AD. There were people that lived there. We don't even know what they even believed. They died off, and all that's left are the mounds that they built their structures on. We have no idea what those people. That was 800 years ago. So, it was each culture. It's like going to Europe. If you go to Europe, each country is different.
Right.
They're not all the same, and they might have some similarities, but it really changes for the further you went in different parts of North America and South America by itself. That's completely different as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I just like I'm sorry I misspoke. I didn't want to generalize, but I do want to believe that there is a purpose behind a lot of the artifacts that are found, and I want to believe that there's a truth behind a lot of things that they have developed in their culture.
Okay. Well, I would have to when I look at those things that were created, I look at it and say human beings are just very smart, and we just don't know how they did it. I don't want to chalk it up to saying we don't know how they did it, so therefore it must be aliens, because that itself doesn't really explain anything.
Aliens. That's my answer for everything. If you don't know, just blame it on the aliens.
So, are you into the alien abductions?
Um, uh, you know what? Maybe, I don't know. I have a friend who she promises me that this happens often, and she promises me that she gets abducted by aliens in the middle of the night, and she wakes up with marks on her body that are usually like bruises in triangular shapes, and she wakes up with bad headaches and swears to me that she gets abducted. The stories she tells me are persistent. They're the same. They don't change. I don't know. I used to be a non-believer, but my friend always tells me about these stories. I don't know. I don't know how to take it.
Well, there are some rational explanations for alien abductions as well, such as sleep paralysis. I had a couple of episodes when I was younger of sleep paralysis, and I woke up and I saw creatures walking around me, and it was all basically because I was partially awake and partially asleep. It was all in my
The
mind.
same thing happened to me. That probably happened to me like twice. So
Okay.
yeah, that's also what part of me makes me want to think, are you sure that you weren't like in between being awake or being asleep? Because I've had sleep paralysis, and yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I saw beings running around in my room, and something sat on my chest, and it was like talking to me telepathically. It was crazy. It was like very traumatic.
Yeah, yeah, and I've also and the I used to think that there was some, believe it, I've changed my ways on this, but I used to think that maybe there was some plausibility to the alien abductions. But then I started looking at the counter arguments. I started realizing that the counter arguments make more sense than the people who believe that they were abducted by aliens. It seems to be that people who believe that they're abducted by aliens, that's another form of almost like religion. They have their ways that they think, and everyone better believe the same way, and they're not open to any other kind of way of thinking. And I'm open to the idea that maybe it happened, but if I don't think the same way they do, that's like I'm not a believer. And they use the word believe, which is what religious people say. They say they're believers.
You're
And
absolutely right.
so,
Because my friend argues with me all the time, and she's like, well, you don't believe me, and you have to believe me, and this really did happen. And if anything that she says, and I'm like, well, are you sure that maybe you didn't like fall asleep with your cell phone and that's why you have, no, see, I knew it, you don't believe me. You know what I mean? They get very defensive, because you're right, they really truly believe, like it's like a gospel, like they believe this really did happen. It's so intense, but who am I to tell her no?
And the one thing that I've noticed when it comes to alien stories like that and other stories is that you'll notice parallel. You'll notice stories that are like similar to that of the Bible, a being coming down to help guide people and teach them the right way. And it's
Right.
like that, when I start hearing stories like that, I'm like, wait a minute, that's like you're just a religion at that point. You're not, and they have nothing to back that up, and they all believe it, and they all seem to worship. They all seem to all the ones that believe this all congregate together like they're going to a church of sorts. And
Yeah,
that's
and they also believe that they're being watched or they're being protected,
right.
just like a religion.
So what about the you said I think you brought this up about the meditation, people being able to communicate in some way.
Oh, yes, yes. It's like a new form of meditation. It's called CE5. Basically, it stands for Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind.
Okay.
And it's just, it's like a way of meditating to the point where you communicate in a sense with aliens. Maybe not telepathically, but apparently you can summon an alien and it can show itself to you. People have done it at the beach. There's videos on YouTube about it. It's pretty crazy, actually. And I've always been interested, and I'd love to try something like that. I think it would be so cool.
So how do you feel about Eric von Donigan? Donigan, I forget how it's like.
Oh, yes, yes. He's great. He's one of the first ones to come out with the ancient alien theory, right?
Yeah, he wrote Chariots of the Gods back in that was at 1990 or 1960s. I can't remember exactly when he wrote it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of him. I like the things that he presents. As he's a big part of the Ancient Aliens show and the big ancient alien community.
Yes, he has an official according to this, it's his official channel. I assume it is. Um, I, I do know when Carl Sagan was alive, the scientist. You're familiar with Carl Sagan, I assume, right?
Carl Sagan, yes.
Carl Sagan would debunk Eric von, I forget how to pronounce it, Danigan. He would he would
uh,
he would debunk him on a regular basis. So
yeah, they would clash a lot. Well, they both have like a good theories, both hand in hand. But I reach over to I lean towards more Eric because I don't know, that ancient alien theory. It gets me. It gets me every time. I feel like it's so plausible.
okay, since I brought up Carl Sagan, how do you feel about Neil deGrasse Tyson? Because he also nowadays he'll debate things like this.
He's excellent too. I love him. I could listen to that man for hours.
Yeah.
He speaks the truth, and I love the way that he dissects things and he almost presents them to you in like a picturesque way, so you can actually imagine what he's talking about. You ever watch The Cosmos, where he hosts that show, The Cosmos?
I watched the show. I watched it when it was out. Are they making a new one? That was like 2013, wasn't it? When they came out were they going?
Yeah, there was one more recent. I'm not sure what year, but it was more recent than 2013.
Okay, because there was one in 2013, and then I heard they were going to make another one, but I didn't watch the one that came out after that. There was also one that came out in 1980 that was hosted by Carl Sagan.
Yes, I do remember that one.
That one is phenomenal. That was the one.
Yes.
Neil deGrasse Tyson was okay. I didn't like it as much as the one with Carl Sagan, though. Carl Sagan, I have a tremendous amount of respect for because he looks at everybody and every culture, and he always finds the positive aspects of every culture. He doesn't try to
Oh yeah.
never denounces anybody. And he also, I don't know if you know this, he smoked marijuana on a regular basis. So I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, and I think he was also an advocate for LSD and microdosing and stuff like
Oh,
that.
really? Okay, that I didn't know. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I do. I like him. I like the Carl Sagan one a lot. It looks, some of the stuff in there is a little outdated looking, but that's fine. It doesn't matter because it's this when he comes on and starts talking. It just I watched it probably about 7 or 8 years ago, all the way through from beginning to end. I was just blown away by the whole series. Phenomenal.
Yes. Yeah, he's great. You should watch the newer The Cosmos. I think you'd like it. I like the graphics and everything about it, like the way he presents it. It's really
Yeah.
interesting. You can catch yourself binge watching that.
Yeah, I saw see, I didn't know. I know that Neil deGrasse Tyson had one. I watched that one from beginning to end. You're saying there was another one after that? A second?
I want to say, let's see, let's look it up. I want to say there
Yeah,
is.
let me look that out here. Let me bring that up. Give me a second here. Why? You can look it up at the same time. I'm just curious. So Of course, my browser is slowing down again. Okay, here we go. It
There's
might be.
different seasons. Yeah.
Here we go. Okay. Here we go. 2019. Is that what? Does that sound right to you?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I didn't know there was a new. Wow, that is very recent. Okay, I have definitely not seen that one then. Okay, that's
Oh,
very.
yeah. The graphics are great. It's like a movie. It's awesome.
I'm bringing it. Give me a second here while I sign into my account so I have my settings here. I'll bring it up in just a second here. Okay, here we go. Is that Cosmos? Is that it?
Yep. Is that it?
Uh
No, that's not it. That looks something. No, that looks like a movie.
oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
I think it might be The Cosmos.
Let me type in it again, see what comes up. This is Moose. There we go. The Cosmos.
Oh, there you go. Down more. 2020.
Oh,
You
was oh
passed.
sorry. Oh well, this is the original one with Carl Sagan. So what I can
Oh,
do,
okay. Okay. I see.
then I go down here and I can go see what ones are after it. Followed by Cosmos. This is okay. The one I'm talking about came out in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And
I see.
this is the one that was hosted by Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Gotcha. Yeah, the one in 2019 or 2020 is kind of similar, but it's got a little more up to date stuff.
Let me go. Okay, hold on a second because I didn't. Okay, it was Neil deGrasse Tyson part of that one? No,
Yeah.
um,
Okay, go down more. 2020. That right there.
right. This one. Okay,
Yep.
there we go.
There you go.
Okay. Okay. Cosmos. Oh, okay. I've definitely. Yeah. Okay. I've definitely not
There's
seen.
different seasons. It's pretty interesting.
Interesting. Okay. This. I. Yeah. Okay. I. Like I said. Yeah. I didn't know that they came up. Oh. Wow. A whole season. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
See, you got tons to binge now.
Yeah, I did not know this one existed. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I heard that they were going to come up with a new one eventually. I guess I wasn't paying attention enough. Yeah, and Seth MacFarlane was part of it. So yeah, that makes sense. So he was supposed to be one of the producers for it. So okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's really cool. I like it. It kind of makes you feel like what would it be like if Neil deGrasse Tyson was your professor? It's kind of like being in classroom with him. It's really informative. Like I
Um,
said, I love the way he explains things. He puts them into such layman's terms. It's great.
Yeah, he's the one thing I always find funny about him is occasionally when I see him stand, I've watched videos of him up on stage. He'll take his shoes off while he walks around on stage, and he does.
Really?
And someone asked one time why he does that, and he said he used to take ballet classes when he was younger, and he felt more relaxed in that way. So when he goes up on stage, he takes his shoes off because it reminds him of taking ballet classes. So
I love that man.
the
Everything I learn about him makes him he's so endearing. I
yeah,
love him. His voice calms me down.
yeah, he's very good, very good. So we got a comment it says, "Wow, this is how Z sounds. I followed him since 2010 and never heard his voice before." Hi there.
Hey.
Well, you've missed a lot of shows then because I've done 80 of these shows. What was that
You're
game?
late.
Yes, game. I can't pronounce your name. Game Expert 2011. So yeah. So cool. Well, thanks for commenting there. So I've been watching the comments. There hasn't been anything that would be really relevant to what we were talking about. Just a lot of people saying hi. So said hi back to them. So all right.
Hey.
Well, I would say I guess we can go back to our original question from the earlier on. Do you want to see what kind of results we have?
Yes, let's see.
Okay, give me a
I want to
second.
see if people are badasses.
Give me a second while I bring this up. Oops, my mouse is this. Here we go. I got it now. All right, 1 second, and we will have it up on the screen. All right. So we posted the question 51 minutes ago. So far, 108 votes. Would you participate in Naked in the Plane?
Hell
Whopping
no.
wow, 93% with no. That's all. That's and only 7% was with yes. Interesting. I would have to be in the no crowd myself. Um, I just don't think I would want to. From what how you
Same.
described it, I would. I need to have my clothes personally. So,
I need to have my food. I will pass out face first, 8 hours flat. My sugar would just drop, done, tapped out.
so we have a couple of comments here. Alpha Light says for free, no. For 100,000, sure. That's
There's
something.
always a price, right?
I do remember I was at work one day. I used to work for Clear Channel, and there was a guy, there was some sort of contest where they were going to, if you shaved your head, you would get a lot of money. And it was like kind of funny because there was a guy sitting next to me. He said, "Oh, I take the money in a heartbeat." He said, and he looked at me. He said, "Wouldn't you?" And I said, "No, I don't want to shave my head. I don't like having a bald head. I just like I like my hair." And
For
like,
how much money?
and then there was like two other women in the studio with us, and they were like just like me. Of course, I think most women don't like when I have bald heads at all. So I
No.
mean, it's not this, but men at least that's kind of a style thing. But even that,
Right.
I was like, no, I just don't want to do it. So
I mean, but hair grows back.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it grows even after you're dead. Did you know that?
but not much, does it?
I don't know about how much, but it still grows after you die.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's look at the other response we got here. Hell no, I don't like it. If they pay me, maybe I'm in. Same, basically the same. And that's from Sandeep Mohan. He's a regular commenter for our comments for our
Cool.
whenever we post a question there. So what we can do is if we do another show, we can come back and look at the results. Usually what we get on these kind of questions within a week, we'll have like anywhere from 2,000 to 6,000 results, votes. And depending on how popular the question actually is, this one may get more. I mean, it's I at the very least, it always gets at least 2,000 votes. So, and hopefully the comments will be pretty good on that.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm interested about the comments.
Yeah. All right. Well, did you want to ask anything else? Otherwise, I'd say we can go ahead and wrap everything up for tonight.
Yeah, that was a good show. I really liked it. I had fun. Thank you. This is my first podcast ever. So,
Alicia, I enjoyed having you on. And
thank you.
Is there anything that you're trying to promote or anything, or did you that you have that? Okay, because if you do, I can always put it in the description below if you have anything you want to show people or anything.
I'm a simple girl. I just want to promote this podcast.
Okay, well, that's good. All right, well, maybe we can have you on again soon. And thank you for being on, and thanks everybody for participating. And we'll definitely see you soon.